All right, 3, 2, 1. Go back to our continuing coverage of Super Bowl 59. I'm Bram Whiteside. We're presented by Pacera. Better is possible. Here's Chargers legend, Lorenzo Neal. Nice to see you.
Hey, nice to see you. Thanks for having me on the show.
So, how long have you been out of the league now?
I don't know. It's been that long. You know, it's interesting. You know, you think you go in the league, you're like, all right, cool. I'll go have a cup of coffee. I'll play maybe 5 years, 7, 8 years. You think maybe 10 years. You think maybe 12. Played 16 seasons, 17 training camps. You know, played since 92, from 93 to 2009. 2010 season, I didn't get in. I ripped my hamstring. 17 years, so 2010. So been out of the league like 14 years now.
Wow.
So it's crazy how much time has elapsed since you've been out. And the time goes so fast. When you're playing it, you're just you're in the game. You don't think anything else, and it's just crazy because once you get out, you're like, wow. It's just you realize like events like this, you miss it. You see different people, and I love coming to events and being able to Super Bowl. It's a great week. Ain't that right, Aaron?
That's an incredibly long career, though.
Yeah,
How did you do that?
You got to be blessed for once. And I was blessed. I was lucky. The game is something that when you're playing football, you're a grown man playing a kid's game, getting a king's ransom. And if you're not mentally ready for it, it'll eat you up, spit you out. I see so many guys that had way more talent than me, had way faster, way stronger, but it was about just the endurance. It was about me getting up in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, getting to the gym, doing the things extra, working out, then going back to the field at 12 o'clock, and then practicing again at 6 o'clock at night. On the off season, practicing 3 times a day, training 3 times a day, going back to Fresno, wrestling with the Fresno State wrestling team, the extra things, training with Paul Vaden, the champion of the world, boxing champion, middleweight. So all the things that I did to perfect my craft, I looked at this football. This football for 16 years, it paid my mortgage, it bought me houses, but all those things, that's what this football did for me. But what did I do to protect this football? And kids don't understand, if you don't protect it, if you're not in the gym, you're not working, you're not doing the right things, one of those things, you're not protecting this, and someone else will take your job.
Yeah. You have been out now 14 years. Things are really different. You talk about all the training that you did to ensure that you have longevity of a career. Times are different now. Things have been collectively bargained differently. Players aren't in the facility as often, aren't asked to do as much in the offseason. How do you kind of look at someone now as they try to manage a career?
I think it has its pros and I think it has its cons. The pros are, I think if you're not going to be around the craft, you need to make sure you're well-rounded, make sure that you understand what you're getting into, make sure that you understand, life itself. A lot of people don't understand that, and when you're playing football, it's hard to try to do a bunch of other things. And the money that you're getting, I don't think that you need to be in pads, hitting every day. I agree with that. I'm okay with those things. But when you're like I said, you're a grown man playing a kid's game, getting a king's ransom, and you have to be at a place. People that work 9 to 5 get home, they have to go back to work the next day.
That's right.
You don't get 4 or 5 months off. But yeah, you don't go through the trauma that you do in the body. But so what's wrong with being around the facility, being around something that you love? I think they need to have more programs around there. Like, okay, in off season, if guys are going to stay there, if not, wherever they're going to be, make sure that they're getting involved in other things that whether it's construction management, whether it's whatever they want to do, that transition. But you got to make sure guys are still active, because sometimes guys just sit around and not doing anything. So I do believe that you have to be away from the game. I understand that. But I do believe that if you want to be great, you got to put in the time.
So why did you want to stay so connected to football? You're a host, media, podcast creator. You've kept your proximity to the game. Why did you want to do that?
I love it. I mean, you got to realize, since I was 7 years old, I played football. It doesn't defy who I am. Football is not what I did. It's what I did. It's not who I am. But at the same sense, I mean, the relationships that you meet, to be able to go to different places and talk to people, have relationships, have a good time, having these moments that you and I are having. That's what football has done for me. It's given me the opportunity to go out and speak to companies and be able to talk to people that you walk into a room and it's like doctors or lawyers or people that business people that are Fortune 500 companies, and they want to hear you, and they're paying you. Why? Because it's shown that you know what it takes for longevity. You know what it takes to be a team leader. I tell people when I talk to different companies and talk to different people, I say, you don't own your brand, people do. When you look at your kids, when you go out to the grocery store, usually parents are influenced by their kids, what they buy, all those different things. So what are you doing to protect your brand? So it's interesting, and that's what football, I think, has done for me, is given me a story that I can walk into a place and I can sit and I can say, hey, what can this guy talk to me about? I can talk about, CDC, the choices, decisions, and what consequence. If you have running a business, you have a choice. Then you have a decision, then there's a consequence. If you're the head of the business, if your choice is not to be hands-on with the employees, what is the consequence? What's the decision? You decided not to or to. If you do be involved, they're going to respect you. They know who you are. They know that you can get down there and do the things you do. When you don't, they look at you as different. They look at you, hey, you're an outsider. You're not looking, you don't understand what they're going through. So I go through those things, and that's what football's done. It's made me more relatable. So I enjoy it because it's given me the opportunity not just to be able to talk X's and O's, but I can talk practicality about life and what business is, what it looks like, because what success looks like.
So last thing for you, I know you don't live in Los Angeles, but what we're talking about here is impact of the sport on communities. Los Angeles has had a terrible situation occur with all the wildfires over the last month or two. What role can teams football play in helping the community rebuild?
Yeah, I think people don't need to be told what to do, just ought to be reminded. And I think you get out there and remind people, hey, look, it starts from the top. Look, it doesn't matter, and I tell people all the time, you don't have to be red or blue to do what's right. It's right here in what's in the heart. Our country is divided. It's so divided, and you see these fires, you look what happened in Carolina, you look what happened in LA, you look what happened in Maui, and you say, man, what's going on with our country? Why is it about red and why is it about blue? Why isn't it about being together? Why isn't it about saying, how do we find a common ground? Because all of us, we bleed the same, we do the same. So it's about community, and that's the thing about football. Football and sports have brought people together. When you think about war, when you think about racism and inequality, what brought people together? The military. What brings people together? Sports. A lot of white guys never ate collard greens. A lot of white guys never ate chitlins or hog maws. And a lot of blacks have not, had caviar or lobsters and certain things. Didn't know where the dinner fork is. Didn't know where the dinner fork. Didn't know where the salad fork. Didn't know where the dessert. And cultures bring each other, and you start teaching, because people come from. It doesn't make you less or smarter or dumber. It just means you come from culturally different. So I think football, and you see it, they're getting out. It doesn't matter. It's Stafford. It's all the guys. Black, white, doesn't matter. They're going out trying to bring everyone's together because it's a tough time right now in LA and all the people are hurting. So it's great that what football doing, what the Lakers are doing, what the Chargers are doing. They're saying, hey, look, we're going to reach out in our community, go feed the homeless, help others. That's what this is about. So I love what the NFL is doing. I love that they're going out and helping others that right now can't help themselves.
Lorenzo, it's a pleasure meeting you.
Pleasure's
Thank
mine.
you so much for coming on.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Yep.